I would like to thank you for taking the time to view this video 2425 explaining the budget process. This is part one, and as we start off with our mission of the Wappingers Central School District is to empower all of our students with the competencies and confidence to challenge themselves, to pursue their passions, and to realize their potential while growing as responsible members of their community. Empower, challenge, and grow. And this year, the theme of the budget is maximizing resources to benefit our schools and our community. I'd like to acknowledge the members of the Board of Education: John Lumia, President; John S. Morgan, Vice President; Marie Johnson, Trustee; Keith Odoms, Trustee; Peggy Kellen, Trustee; Eddie A. Slowshower, Trustee; Michael McFarland, Trustee; James Spencer, Trustee; and Cheryl Miggets, Trustee. Members of the District Senior Administrative Cabinet: Darren Lolkema, our Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Information Systems; Dr. Michelle Cardwell, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction; Ms. Kristen Dainty, our Assistant Superintendent of Finance and Business Development; Mr. Richard Zip, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support Services; Ms. Renee Harris, Executive Director of Human Resources; Ms. Julia Montoya, Executive Director of Special Education; Mr. Ronald Broas, our Director of Facilities; and Ms. Alberta Pedro, the District Clerk and Secretary to the Superintendent. So the budget process, it begins when the budget calendar is approved by the Board of Education. This was done this year on October the 16th, and it ends when the annual budget is brought to the voters in May. It's a long, steady process for the administration, the Board of Education, and our community. So what is a school district budget? Well, it provides for the educational needs of our students while maintaining compliance with New York State. It's the annual spending plan for the district. It's an aggregate view of all of the financial numbers that drive the district's operations for the following year. And it's created in alignment with Board of Education annual goals. It's more than a collection of numbers. It's a reflection of the mission and core values of the entire Wappingers Central School District community. So official work began this past October 16th, once the budget calendar was approved by the Board of Education. The calendar includes dates for submission of information, building and district level administrators and departments, presentations to the Board of Education, study work sessions with the Board of Education, presentations to the community in our schools, local municipality meetings, and the New York State mandated budget hearing and meeting dates. Data gathered includes the preliminary equipment requests, any requests for new staffing or programs, and curriculum proposals. Also included are important dates for the Board of Education candidates, voter information dates, and mandated approvals for submission to New York State related to the budget. Significant changes will be in effect in May 2024 with regard to voting, and the 24-25 approved budget calendar can be found on our district website. How can our district help to make this a community process? It needs to be a community process. We understand that the budget document, the financial terms and acronyms used during the budget process, it does not reflect the everyday language used by many of us. And what can we do to help that? We've provided a list of frequently used financial and budget terms that's been developed to bridge the gap and have a more fluid conversation with the Board of Education and our community. It's updated annually and can be found on the district website, wappingerschools.org. Prior year budget information is also available on our website if you'd like to compare and contrast. So the budget process enhanced, building and department levels. Building level and department level budgets have been developed independently and reviewed as such. That process now involves an enrollment-based approach, dollar amounts allotted based on each grade level, and it applies to an equal standard budget for each and every Wappingers Central School District student, and enrollment-based funding to each school from the general fund budget. Enrollments are updated annually, as is the budget allotment, based on the current environment as well as projected economic forecasts. How do we build the budget? Well, we provide opportunities to share your feedback, ask questions, and gain a further understanding through district-sponsored events. The superintendent's video will be presented twice a year. This is the first video. And again, I would ask you to please send us questions, concerns, and feedback. What would you like this budget to include? What do you believe are the most important services and programs that we need to provide our students? And that is at budget@wcsdny.org. And as I indicated, budget will be on the website. We'll have public comment at Board of Education meetings, budget public hearings. In the spring of 2024, district administration will hold community presentations at the high schools and be the guests of local municipalities at their monthly meetings. So the expense components of a school budget: benefits, transportation, instruction, and general support. New York State budget versus the New York State financial reporting. We take a look at the New York State budget, its benefits, transportations, instruction, general support. New York State annual reporting format is for school expenses. When we take a look at New York State financial reporting, it's the administrative component, the capital component, the program component, and New York State reporting for school budgets. As required by the state of New York, reporting for all expenses is different than reporting the budget. Our district shows the annual budget in both formats. Revenue components of the school budget: state aid, federal aid, property taxes, miscellaneous. Revenue last year by source: tax levy was 64%, state aid was 32%. We also used 1.31% of fund balance. We did 0.17% of fund balance on infrastructure work. Other revenue 1.13%, and the fund balance for the K-8 Special Education Initiative 0.42%. What does a budget allow us to provide? It allows us to provide what we as a community believe are the programs and the services that our students both need and deserve. How does all of this get put together and compiled to provide for the educational needs of our students while maintaining compliance with New York State? Building and district level administrators create the budgets, requests for their submission, which includes staffing, supplies, materials, equipment, new curriculum proposals, in-service. Administration uses estimates for costs that have yet to be finalized. Examples would include health insurance, retirement systems, energy costs, and other items. An example is that the district's health insurance rates, which are not finalized until March, we need to use an estimate from November to March for discussion purposes. And then once those rates are finalized, the budget is updated accordingly. Administration uses estimates for revenues that have yet to be finalized. An example of this, obviously, is the aid from New York State. Governor's proposed budget is normally released in January. We use an estimate from November through January until that time. And then an update is done in January to reflect any change in the estimate being used. Deadline for the New York State budget is April 1st. If the budget is passed into law, the New York State aid amount will be finalized for the district's budget. And obviously we will continue to have forums to gather data and opportunities for feedback, providing an opportunity for the Board of Education and the community to ask questions. It needs to be an interactive process for both the Board of Education and the community. February the 26th will be the next video that will be sent out. It will explain the budget process in more detail. Part 2 will present that in both English and Spanish. And if you are interested in learning more about the budget process, we invite you to learn how we gather information to develop the budget, how we use estimates in the budget, and arrive at the final budget number that is proposed to the voters. So that will be included in that explaining the budget process in late February. As I mentioned before, prior year budget information is available on our website. Just taking a look at the budget calendar, we have the release of the superintendent's video, which is explaining the budget process 1. February the 12th, preliminary budget presentation for 24-25. Superintendent's video explaining the budget process, that'll be part 2, that'll be out in the end of February. March 4th, 24-25 preliminary budget presentation. Number 2, we'll also provide the vehicle purchase presentation. March the 18th, 24-25 superintendent's recommended budget presentation 1, to be followed on April the 11th by the 24-25 superintendent's recommended budget presentation 2. Hopefully that will provide a state aid update. April the 23rd, 24-25 superintendent's recommended budget presentation 3. Hopefully that will be the budget adoption. And community forum on May the 13th. State mandated public hearing on the budget and the budget vote May 21st, 2024. So again, we are hoping to maximize our resources to benefit our schools and our community. This is an interactive process. We do welcome your feedback. We want to know what our community, as I stated at the beginning of this video, believes is necessary to provide our students with the programs and the services that they need and deserve, and to be fiscally responsible to the taxpayers within the Wappingers School District. I thank you for taking the time to view this video. Thank you.